Today we're going on a little excursion. I'm bringing you guys down to South Melbourne Market. I wanted to come down here to pick up some fresh produce for a few recipes that we'll be whipping up together. If you find that putting together dinner on weeknights can be a hassle, takes too long and you'd rather order in or just grab a bag of chips, keep watching because I've got a bunch of quick and tasty recipes that you can include in your repertoire. So back home now, got some fresh ingredients from the markets, got some other ingredients in the fridge, and I'm about to get changed into a hoodie because, let's be real, I make a mess when I'm in the kitchen and there's no way that I'm going to be cooking all these recipes in linen. Now, if you want a written version of any of these recipes, check out the description box. I've linked them all for you. That way you can bookmark them, you can print them, you could save them to your device, whatever you want to do, and it will just make it really easy for you to refer back to. Now, if you're new around here, welcome. My name is Rachel. I'm a personal trainer, I'm a nutritionist, and I'm a wellness coach, and I love sharing recipes with you guys. All right, first up on the menu, we have a low-carb beef bowl. You can of course swap out the low carb noodles, but this is what we're doing for this recipe. So what you will need: 400 grams of extra lean beef mince. The reason that we're going for extra lean is because we're already getting our fat from other sources in this meal. 1 tablespoon of your preferred cooking oil, 4 tablespoons of Hoisin sauce, a small bag of pre-chopped coleslaw mix, 2 whole eggs, some low-calorie noodles. I like to use these low-cal, low-carb Chang's Konjac noodles, green onions, which we're going to slice up thinly, broccolini, bok choy, and some almond flakes. So you're going to need 2 pans for this one, and you may want to enlist your microwave's help as well. So we're starting off with a large pan, and I'm adding the oil to the pan. And I'm going to place the beef mince on the pan and let it start cooking. While the beef mince is cooking, I'm going to chop up my broccolini and my bok choy. I'm just going to use the scissors and chop them up into some microwave-safe containers. You can cook them in a steamer if you like, but I find that putting them in the microwave is just so much faster for this process, and we're trying to get dinner made as quick as we can. So what I'm going to do is place the broccolini and the bok choy into the microwave with a small amount of water, and I'm going to cook each of those for a few minutes. The bok choy doesn't take very long. Your broccolini, you're going to maybe need like 3 or 4 minutes, if not a little bit more. That's going to depend on the strength of your microwave. Now, once the mince has been cooking for about 5 minutes and it's reasonably browned, we're going to add in the Hoisin sauce and the coleslaw mix. And while that's cooking away, I'm going to take out another pan. I'm using a non-stick pan for this so that I don't have to use any cooking oils or anything, and I'm going to cook 2 eggs sunny side up. While the eggs are cooking, I'm jumping back to that pan that has the beef mince in it, and I'm going to cut up some Konjac noodles and put them in. You don't have to cut them, of course, that's optional, but these noodles have already been rinsed, and now I'm going to add them into the pan along with some chopped up spring onion and some almond flakes. Stir that around regularly. Your eggs are only going to take like a minute or 2 to cook, and by now your broccolini and your bok choy should be done. So what you can do is take them out of the microwave, serve everything up in a bowl, place the egg on top, and there you have it. Now we are going to make a falafel meal prep. So you can have this one for dinner, cook extra, and then you can take it for leftovers the next day. So if you want to, you can make your own falafel from scratch, or I have bought these store-bought ones. You're just gonna wanna look out for lower sodium. So I've got falafel, I've got hummus, I have red onion, cucumber, tomato, feta cheese, baby spinach leaves, and whole wheat pitas, which I'm actually gonna bake and turn into more like sort of tortilla chip style things to put with the meal. So what we're doing is we're preheating our oven, and I'm going to place the pita breads in there, and we're just going to toast them essentially. So cut them up first, put them in, and then toast them so that they're more chip-like, and we're going to serve this as our carbs with the dish. While that's happening, I'm also going to make sure to cook up the falafel. You can cook this whichever method you prefer. I find it's easy just to throw it on a skillet, and I'm also going to assemble the salad. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to just grab out a container, I'm going to put in my baby spinach leaves, chop up a red onion and put that in there. Then I'm adding my cucumber, my tomato, and my feta. If you are a dressing kind of person, you can put the dressing on, but I don't put dressing on, and that reflects in the macros, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a container which is going to have the falafel in it. We're going to put our little pita bread chip sort of things in there with it, the salad, and then some hummus as well. If you're not the biggest fan of hummus, you could always swap it out. Use something like tahini as well. That would be delicious. This is a very convenient lunchbox option. Now we have tuna pasta. I have shown you guys this one before in another video, although I don't remember what the video was, so there we go. But it is a very fast option that you can have for dinner, and if you are someone who is eating, higher protein and higher carbohydrates and slightly lower fat, this option will suit you well. For each serving of the pasta, we're using 2 small tins of tuna, a handful of spinach, roughly, a quarter to half a punnet of cherry tomatoes, half a tablespoon of olive oil, some Himalayan salt, and about 60 grams of pasta per serve. Now, the weight of the pasta, it is measured before we cook it, not after, because cooked and raw pasta do weigh different amounts, and I calculate the macros off the raw weight. This whole recipe will only take you about 15 minutes, and it does pack a great punch of protein. So I'm gonna bring some water to the boil in a saucepan, and I'm gonna add the pasta in. In a separate skillet, once that pasta's been cooking for like 5 or so minutes, you don't wanna put this on too early because we don't want it to burn. In a pan, I am placing tuna, cherry tomatoes, and spinach. We're just gonna lightly cook through that tuna until it is, hot the way through and the spinach is wilted and the cherry tomatoes are soft. Now we'll be draining the pasta, serving with the tuna on top, and you can add a little bit of Himalayan salt and a tiny bit of olive oil. If you want to, not included in the macros, but you can also serve it with some parmesan. It is delish. Now we have a lamb and bean salad. This is the kind of salad which you could prep a bunch in advance and leave it in the fridge as well. And again, just like take out a serving for lunch tomorrow if that's easier for you. So what you will need for this meal is 200 grams, which is like half a can of 4-bean mix, roughly 50 grams, so like 2 small handfuls of frozen green beans, pre-diced pumpkin. The reason that I'm doing this is because it saves time. If you have extra time, just cut up your pumpkin, easy. Roast capsicum, rocket and spinach, a few tablespoons of balsamic dressing, 4 lamb chops, so that's 2 per person. If you are someone who has like less calories around dinner time, then you can pull that back down to 1 chop and make the salad a little bit smaller. This is a pretty dense meal. And some pumpkin seeds as well. So what we're doing for this one is we're heating up a non-stick pan, and we're just going to place the lamb chops into the pan. These don't take too long to cook. The reason I'm using a non-stick pan is because I don't want to add the extra oil. They will cook in their own fat, and you can add rosemary to it as well if you like, which is something that I added into mine. Now, to speed up the cooking process, you could do this part in the oven if you have more time, but to make it quicker, we're just going to use the microwave. So I'm taking 2 microwave safe containers. In one, I'm putting the diced pumpkin, and in the other, I'm putting the 4-bean mix and the green beans, and separately, I'm going to heat those up. Put the pumpkin on first, that will take the longest. You may even wish to start that before you start the lamb. I had to cook my pumpkin for around 5 or 6 minutes, and the beans only took like 2. While you've got the other veggies rotating along in the microwave, go ahead and flip over the lamb. And now we're going to start constructing our salad. So I'm taking my spinach, my rocket, my cooked pumpkin, my roast capsicum, the green beans, the pumpkin seeds, pretty much just everything, and mixing that all together and adding the balsamic vinegar on top. And then when the lamb is finished, I'm going to serve that with the salad. Super easy. I love this lazy option. I feel like this is also a really good afternoon snack. So what we will need for this is whole wheat wraps, turkey, a cranberry spread, a whole heap of spinach, low-fat cream cheese, and optionally, which I haven't included in the macros, but if you want to add them on, you can alter it. You could also include tomato and or avocado. Now, to boil the turkey, what we're doing is taking a saucepan and putting a small amount of water in. You could also use stock, and you are literally just going to boil the turkey for a few minutes. Once that's done, let it cool, and then you're just going to assemble the wrap. I like to start with a whole wheat wrap, and then I will put some low-fat cream cheese and some of the cranberry spread on there. Not too much, it's pretty sugary. And then add my other toppings and my turkey. This option does not take long at all, and it's such a good source of protein. And having the whole wheat wrap there is really great for our fiber intake as well. I completely understand what it feels like to want to be absorbed by your couch at the end of the day. And if you don't have meal prep around, or if you don't have something already there to eat, like, it can be a little demotivating. So give some of these options a go if you want to be able to implement some meals that are really quick and they don't take too much effort. Feel free to let me know what you want next. Are we doing packable lunches or are we doing snacks? Leave me a comment. I'll catch you guys in my next upload. Bye.